Hi YouTube, Watchify here with another video. Seiko's known for taking popular watch models from their past catalogs and reissuing or releasing a reinterpretation of them, but with more modern features. It seems that they've been doing a lot of this lately, so I'll go over some examples I'm familiar with or even have in my collection and talk a bit about which watches I wish they would also reissue or reinterpret. First off, the venerable Seiko 5 SNK watch line was the go-to recommendation for an inexpensive automatic watch for beginners and collectors alike. It was seen as a huge value because it could be had at one point for under $100. That watch is a 37mm military field / pilot style watch and has the older Seiko 7S26 automatic movement that did not hack or hand wind. Seiko recently updated this watch in the form of the SRPH series, so now it has a larger 39mm case size and a newer 4R36 movement that can hack and hand wind. They changed the location of the crown to 3 o'clock and also changed the hour and minute hand style from dagger shapes to more sword-like shapes. As will be the case for all the watches mentioned here, the price has increased on this newer model as it retails for $275, but are commonly found selling for at or just below $200 at major online retailers. They did the same for the larger SNZG field watch line, which, as far as I can tell, wasn't a watch that was wildly popular, but it was an alternative for those that wanted a larger case size than the SNK line provided. This watch was 42mm in size and also came with a non-hacking and hand-winding movement in the form of the Seiko 7S36 automatic movement. It's distinctive due to its raised outer minute track that provided an aspect of depth to the dial. This can still be found online for around $160, and Seiko released the newer version of this watch with the SRPG line. Gone is the outer raised minute track, but you get a newer 4R36 movement and a smaller 39mm case size. The dial numerals are now raised instead of just printed, but the shape of the hands remained. I have both of these watches in my collection and have held on to the older SNZG because I've modified it quite a bit. The newer SRPG line also retails for $275, but are commonly seen below $200 online. Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Seiko 5 Sports SRPD line, often referred to as the 5KX, which is essentially a newer version of the famous SKX dive watch line. Only now with the 5KX, you just get 100 meters water resistance instead of 200 meters, and you get a push-pull crown instead of a screw-down crown. These changes caused a lot of mixed feelings in the Seiko enthusiast community, but I can see why Seiko did what they did. I think this was their response to the watch modding community because they have a multitude of 5KX colorways and dial textures available at a relatively affordable price point. There are also versions that are collaborations with others, so if you wanted to keep the classic SKX look but wanted a more modern movement and more variety in colors, there's bound to be a 5KX model for you. I have several SKX and 5KX models in my collection because they're still a great modding platform to upgrade and change the look of the watch to basically whatever you want it to look like. Seiko's also doing the reinterpretation treatment to some of their higher end watches as well. The very popular Prospex PB073 and its variants are a modern interpretation of the famous Seiko 62 MAS dive watch. They also expanded on that and came out with models like the SBDC051, which retains some elements of the 62 MAS DNA but depart more in look and case size. As far as I know, the limited edition SLJE017 was the reissue that was supposed to most closely resemble the classic 62 MAS in appearance and size, but with a newer higher end 8L35 movement and a whopping price tag of over $4,000 when it was released. I have both the SPB143 and the SBDC051 in my collection, And although some may think they look similar, I can appreciate their differences both when it comes to the dial indices, hands, and case size. Other dive watches Seiko has updated are the 6105, commonly referred to as the Captain Willard, which has been updated with the SPB151 and its variants. These retail for above $1,000 and now come with a 6R35 movement. Also, the Prospex SPB077 is supposed to be a modern version of the popular Seiko 6159 model from 1968 and is a good looking watch in my opinion, but the 44mm case size may be a bit too large for some. The famous 1959 Alpinist Laurel also got the upgrade and makeover treatment with the limited edition SJE085 and more affordable and available variants shown on the screen. These are just the examples that I can think of, but I know there are many more to cite, for example like the recently released King Seiko recreation. In terms of what I would like Seiko to refresh or reinterpret, I think it would be cool if they went back and redid the quartz movement Flightmaster by adding a solar movement and some different accent colors. I think the Seiko SNZF17, known as the Sea Urchin, was popular enough to go back and redo, this time with a hacking and hand-winding 4R36 movement and hopefully a larger crown. I know if they did that, I would be interested in it since I don't have one in my collection now. The same can be said of the SNZH57, known as the 55 Fathoms, which was also a Seiko enthusiast homage favorite. It would also be nice if they updated some of their other Seiko 5 dress watches like the popular and discontinued SNK L23 and SNXS79, since those two have the older 7S26 movements. If updated to a more modern 4R movement, I don't think that they could keep the hidden recessed crowns though, so they would either need to make the crown larger or move it to the 3 o'clock position. Also, a 38mm 5KX would be nice since, as far as I know, they have yet to come out with a replacement for the popular SKX013, which was a smaller version of the SKX007, and it had a cult following of its own. I know some will view these Seiko reissues and reinterpretations as maybe a lazy way for Seiko to put out more expensive versions of an older design with minimal effort towards design innovation, but I feel the watches they refresh are usually the ones that have a fan following, and I think that there are people like me that they want updated movements and specs without the overall look being drastically changed. Seiko does still continue to come out with new designs also, so I think they're trying their best to appeal to the widest range of watch consumers. That's going to be it for this video. If you have an older discontinued Seiko in mind that I didn't mention, and you wish that Seiko would update and re-release, let me know in the comments below. If you found the video interesting, feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Of course, I wanted to thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in another video.